Hello and welcome to our presentation on unintended consequences, impacts of driver behavior on automation. This project was conducted as part of the 2022 Sociomobility Research Experiences for Undergraduates program at Michigan State University, funded by the National Science Foundation. My name is Ryan Rodriguez, and I'm a rising sophomore at Georgia Tech pursuing a degree in industrial engineering.
And I am Cass Conrad. I'm a senior at Mercer University currently pursuing a degree in mechanical engineering. Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, or ADAS, are a disruptive technology and a precursor to fully autonomous vehicles, AVs. They'll have far-reaching impacts on the nature of travel. However, these impacts won't be uniform across the general population. Certain background characteristics will affect how willing individuals are to engaging with the technology and how receptive they are to adopting it. Because of this, it is essential to understand what factors influence individual perceptions and how.
Although an increasing number of vehicles come pre-equipped with ADAS, which offers safer travel experiences to drivers, some may not like to use these systems if they view them as cumbersome or dangerous, creating a disconnect between the driving behaviors of drivers who are and are not utilizing these systems. Using data from a statewide survey of Michigan residents, our research draws connections from 4 individual characteristics like age and education level to 11 metrics of driver behavior like willingness to engage in risky behaviors in and around ADAS and AVs.
We identified 4 main background characteristics for our analysis, these being age, education level, sex, and political affiliation. These are measured on varying point scales. Age was measured on a 7-point scale, education on a 3-point scale, sex was measured as a binary on a 2-point scale, and political ideology was measured on a 5-point scale from strongly conservative to strongly liberal. Here are some of the descriptive statistics for our survey sample. You'll notice that older adults and women were overrepresented in this data. This is pretty standard for an online survey, so there's nothing unusual here. We also identified 11 categories of engagement by which people engage with ADAS and AVs. These were willingness to buy and lease AVs, comfort with 4 different types of ADAS, these being collision alert, automatic braking, adaptive cruise control, and drowsiness alert, and finally willingness to engage in risky behaviors such as phone use, alcohol consumption, or tailgating while in or near an ADAS-equipped vehicle.
For simplicity, we're going to subdivide these variables into 3 different categories: willingness to buy or lease AVs, comfort with ADAS features, and willingness to engage in risky behaviors with ADAS. The willingness to buy or lease AVs category question was measured on a 4-point Likert scale from very interested to not at all interested. The comfortability with ADAS features category questions were measured on another 4-point scale from very comfortable to very uncomfortable. And the willingness to engage in risky behaviors with ADAS category questions were measured on a 3-point scale from more likely to less likely. Note that we did not combine questions into a single indicator for each category. These scales are for each individual question as mentioned in the previous slide. Since our variables were discrete and in ordered categories, we used ordinal regression in our analysis. We used SPSS to estimate model thresholds and significance values, while we used nlogit for percentage likelihoods.
You can see some of the highlights of our results here. There was significant variability in receptiveness to ADAS across age groups, but in general, older adults were less likely to engage in risky behaviors and purchase an AV, but more likely to be comfortable with ADAS. This may sound surprising, this latter point, but this corroborates findings from existing literature. In addition, men were consistently more likely to comfortably engage with ADAS and AVs, but also more likely to engage in risky behaviors when they were around or inside of an ADAS-equipped vehicle.
Negative perceptions of ADAS were more prevalent among conservative respondents, with conservatives being less likely to purchase an AV or be comfortable driving with ADAS. And in comparison to those who made progress towards a post-secondary degree, respondents with up to a high school diploma were less likely to engage in risky behaviors in and around vehicles with ADAS, potentially due to distrust of the technology. Overall, our study found strong trends that are consistent with previous research. These findings have the potential to aid ADAS or AV adoption through support for future studies or policy directed at background-specific groups. This study also has potential use by ADAS and AV manufacturers for product usage and development. Thank you for watching our presentation, and please feel free to contact us at the email addresses listed below if you have any questions, comments, or concerns.
And of course, we'd like to thank Dr. Pete Savalainen for his sustained support and expertise on the project, and Drs. Josh Siegel and Timothy Gates for their contributions in designing our research question and our final report.